Now, when it comes to internet outages, like when the internet is shut down completely, there are a number of different great data resources that you can refer to. One of them is IOTA, the Internet Outage Detection Analysis Project, which you will learn all about through a dedicated module as part of this training. They share open data that you can access and download in order to inspect it, but they also have a great dashboard through which you can receive alerts and through which you can track internet outages all around the world in near real time. Quite similarly, the Oracle Internet Intelligence Map project also has a great data visualization that makes it easy to track internet outages around the world and to find relevant data. And RIPE is another great organization that aggregates BGP information and can enable for you to examine internet outages. And Google is another organization which shares their traffic data. So Google shares usage metrics on how many people are, on people using their services like Google Search, Google Web, and other services around the world. And they have a graph like the one you can see at the bottom, and you can configure this to see if there's normal traffic originating from that country. And so the interesting thing about these different data sources, especially the ones that have graphs like Google Traffic and IOTA, is that when there is an internet disruption, you can very clearly see the absence of traffic during that period from that country. And so that enables you to infer cases of internet outages. And IOTA specifically not only allows you to do this on a countrywide level, but they also enable you to do this on a regional and on a network level. So they provide a lot of granularity, and you'll learn about this as part of this course. And so these cases, I think many of them, so while Google traffic data, as mentioned, is an example of indirect measurement, projects like IOTA and RIPE combine both direct and indirect measurements, where RIPE involves like the analysis of telemetry, but they also have RIPE Atlas, which allows you to actively perform trace routes and other tests. The types of questions you can examine when measuring internet outages include the following. For example, can we detect that access to the internet has been shut down in a specific country? Now, this type of question can be relevant if, for example, you hear of a report of an internet shutdown happening in a specific country. And maybe you may be able to see through the data that access to the internet has gradually been shut down instead of all happening at once. To this end, you can ask, did the internet shutdown affect all networks in the country? Often we see that an internet shutdown doesn't affect the entire country, or at least not at the same time, and it doesn't always affect all networks. Sometimes some networks remain online, and you can still have some connectivity while other networks, connections to other networks are disrupted. Which brings us to another question, which is similar, which is, was access to the internet shut down on all networks at the same time? Which networks were still online? And so these are the sorts of questions that you can potentially answer when examining internet outage data. But you will learn about the relevant projects in more detail as part of the next modules of this training. And as part of that, I'm sure you'll come up with more of your own questions. But this was just like to provide you an idea of what are the type of relevant questions that you can ask based on these data sets.